Hello, sweet friends. Tristan and Sabrina here, and we have got a little party action going on here. We're celebrating. Had an amazing week. We've been hanging out with many of you during the Energy Detox and Reboot event. We're going to share some secret sauce with you today. Seriously, though, today is going to be off the hook. We've got some very unpolished notes sitting off to the side because this is something we do all day, every day, and we did not need to overproduce today's show. We're going to speak from the heart. We're going to tell you the truth, the way we see it, and it has to do with, and I'm going to say it right here because this is our hook. We, my dear friends, are diving into the 3 most important questions that you can use on social media when it comes to deeply and emotionally connecting with your audience. This is seriously powerful stuff. It's changed our lives. It's changed our business. In fact, I'd like to read you something that Mark Zuckerberg just recently said, that video now accounts for almost half of all time spent on Facebook. Now, why is this interesting? Well, as much as we agree that video is essential these days, I mean, just think about it. Everything is video. Having video is only half the battle. Just showing up on a video doesn't do anything. Someone will watch it for 2 seconds, like, no, thank you. It's the actual engagement and the connection. That's the secret sauce. That's what changes everything. In fact, I've got another really cool thing that I just heard today. Jasmine Starr, one of the top social media strategists, recently said today, I believe, and I've come to know, that moving forward at this time in history, if you do not have social media, you are going to be lacking the ability to keep your business. It was a nice to have for a long time, for know, like, and trust, for conversations, but social media is going to be the conduit for all sales, business, and clients moving forward. I think this is a real deal, folks. It's not enough.
Boom.
You can't just have a social media account. Yay, you have a YouTube account. Yay, you have a Facebook business page. You have an Instagram account. That's not enough. We have to be connecting at a deeply emotional level with people.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean at all, please don't misunderstand that we're saying live on social media, live on Insta, live on Facebook.
I just hit my Insta.
We're not saying that.
No.
We're saying that social video marketing on social media has become so important. And I think it's because everything that happened in the world, there's a human longing for connection and community and being a part of something. Right. And yet we've all been separated. And while I don't think everybody wants things to go back to exactly the way they were. Right. And now everything is online. So who's going to rise in this new world? Who's going to rise in this new world where the playing field is very even? The new person, the solopreneur, has all the tools that the big boys have.
We're broadcasting live around the world right now. We have the toys that the big boys and girls have.
We got the toys the big boys have.
We got the toys.
So the thing that's making the difference is that connection, right? Is that the connection. And you know, a lot of the bigger brands have the connection. What's the car company you talk about? Subaru.
I love Subaru.
What do they say?
They just always talk about love.
They always talk about love, right? So, that's how they're connecting with their people. So how are you connecting with your people? That's what we're going to talk about today. And what is the best way so that it's a deep connection? You can meet someone and it can just be a meeting, or you can say, gosh, I met this person. We had the deepest connection. And you remember meeting them because of the conversation that you had. And what was that conversation usually about? Probably one of the 3 things that we're going to share with you today, because it's the kind of things, the way you connect with people, it's the things sometimes they just don't talk about because there's emotional connection they have with them, or the things they talk to their best friend about when they're out having a glass of wine, or maybe the things they complain to their best friends about when they're out having a glass of wine.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to be diving in. So I'm Tristan. This is Sabrina. If you're new to our work, welcome.
Where have you been?
Where have you been? Where have we been? We're doing this from our home. We are entrepreneurs, but we started as teachers. We coach. We help people to heal. Dance background, martial art background, healing background. And we grew a business, a very beautiful stay-at-home business, if you will. We had brick and mortar. We're the bridge, if you will, because we figured out how to go online with what we do.
Yeah, I think that's what really makes us unique is that we started out serving our clients face-to-face. privately and in group settings. And then we did the crossover where we were face-to-face and online, and then more recently went totally online. And we see the marketing strategies that can be used to grow the business across all three platforms: face-to-face, the bridge, and just online.
Absolutely. And so as we've been doing this, we've been training and studying and learning and geeking out on marketing and geeking out on how do you make love-based offers and how do you do the technology without feeling overwhelmed. And we're broadcasting to you right now from one of our studios in our home. And this is what we do all day, every day. We're just coming off the tail end of what's called a 5-day challenge, something we've been doing actually in our local in-person classes years and years ago. We're talking like well over a decade ago. And we took that same model online and we've been using it successfully. But the main thing that we've learned in doing this is how to truly connect through the portal of virtual video. So that's what's coming through.
Right.
These three questions though, these are our secret sauce that we're going to share with you today. So you really want to get these down and use them. And I'm going to give you a link right now because you should just jot this link down and just have it. Because later on, you might want to go to that link and use this tool that we're using, and we'll explain why later.
Right.
So just jot that down, satorimethod.com/group convert. And lastly, if you would like to, always be in the know when it comes to the different things that we're doing with this show, jot that link down,
satorimethod.com/showbiz.
Take it away, my baby.
I was going to say, how do you know if you're connecting with your audience? Well, one way you'll know is the deeper your connection, the larger your bank account will probably be. And that's the way it is. Connection is more important than focusing on sales, because with connection, you have those long-term relationships. But one of the symptoms of it is they tell you. You get private messages, you get emails, they're writing in your Facebook page, this is exactly what I've been looking for. What you're saying, you took the words right out of my mouth. What you're sharing is solving exactly what I need. I've been looking for you my whole life and didn't even know what I was looking for. Those are some of the symptoms that you might be deeply connecting with your people. And that's what's been happening during our 5-day event.
Let's take a look at the 3 questions that we're using to deeply create connection. And I might even add at an emotional level. And we'll share with you how that happens on the journey. So when somebody comes into your world, let's say social media, for example, because it's such an incredible platform to be building connection. And you can do this, what we're about to share with you, in person, like in your yoga classes, your Tai Chi classes, in your day-to-day, service provider, like you're an acupuncturist, you're a massage therapist. You can use these same questions with individuals or with groups. Do you want to jump into the first one? Or?
Sure. Well, first, I just want to say these questions, when we're going to speak to you, kind of framing it in a way that we just had tremendous success, which is we invite people to take part in a 5-day event inside of a Facebook group. And in the Facebook group, under settings, you can see where it says like the questions, and you're allowed to put 3 questions. So this, when we use a lot of examples, we're going to use that. But like Tristan said, this is almost like you could call it a quiz. You could put it in an email. You could say it's a survey. You could say it's a poll. You can use these however, but we're going to talk about it in that context so that we can share with you some of the success that we had.
And some additional ways that you can use these are on the telephone. I mean, some of us are still picking up the phone and people are inquiring about our Zumba classes or about our Qigong classes. Yeah. It could be through email where you're asking these questions. And the questions are to help you get a better understanding of your potential client or student, right? This could happen in Messenger. Yeah. So it's just you getting to know, we'll call your audience, the people who are most interested in what you're offering. Now, there's a term that's used heavily in marketing, avatar. Also, people will say your ideal client or your right fit client. So what you're trying to do is not only identify the right people who are a perfect fit for you and what you offer, but you're also trying to learn about these individuals so you can best serve them. And you're probably familiar with these 2 terms, demographics and psychographics. And if you're not, I'll just pull up a little explanation between the two here for you. In fact, I don't need it. I'll just tell you. So demographics have to do with their statistical data. Like what is their age? Where do they live?
Right.
What is their median income? Right? Things like that.
Yeah.
Very specific kind of calculatable data.
And kind of a typical thing that someone would think when they say, know your avatar, man, woman, 30, 40, or 50. What kind of house do they live in? How much money do they make every year? How many children do they have? Do they exercise? That kind of thing. And that's so good to know, but that's not what gives you connection.
Yeah, it's a piece of the equation, right? You're honing in so that you have a pretty good idea. Well, the majority of our members or our potential clients are women. The majority of them are 50 to 65 years. Like that helps you in your targeting. And it's good to do. Now you may say, but not everybody. I've got some teenagers, and that's true. But that happens. I have men. I have women. Okay, that's all good. You should just note that, right? Note that. Like, oh yeah, this does appeal to this, but this core group have these statistical data points. Then you have your psychographics. These are where people's interests lie, what their core values are, what their desires and aspirations are, but also what they're struggling with. What is it that they're up against? What's the stuff that's really bugging them? And I like to think of it like, what are they fed up with?
So that's question number one.
Well, we're going to get into that question, but this is where we're heading, this psychographic, more what's going on in their psychology. So question number one, in fact, I'm going to read you the question that we wrote for this recent challenge, and you're more than welcome to take this and model it. We've actually modeled this after one of our coaches that helped us. So this is a question that says, this is specific to today, and we're going to get into the specifics of like what time of year and everything in a minute. With everything that's going on right now in the world, when it comes to, and you could put your brackets here, for us it was staying healthy and happy. What's your single biggest challenge, frustration, or concern? And feel free to be as specific as you like.
Okay, great. Read it again and say losing weight after childbirth.
With everything that's going on in your life right now, I changed it a little bit. We are saying what's going on in the world because we're addressing things around immune system and concern around a pandemic. With everything that's going on with your life right now, or in this particular, when it comes to
losing weight after recently giving birth to a child.
What's your single biggest challenge, frustration, or concern?
Right.
Feel free to be as detailed and specific as you
like.
like.
That fill in the blank has to do with what you're an expert in, right? Or the problem that you can help them solve. What's your number one concern regarding or obstacle regarding this? Because you have to put it in a lane, right? Not just random. What's your biggest concern? Well, global warming. Not going to really help you connect with them. I mean, you could put it on the list of data, but that's not going to help you know what's keeping them up at night. What has them stuck in a loop that if I could just fix this thing, if I could just sleep all night, if I could just touch my toes, if my knees didn't hurt, right? What is that thing? If I could just lose that 5 pounds, if I could just stop fighting with my husband, if I could just find a diet that works for me, if I could just, whatever it is, find that man to spend time with, find that woman to spend time with. It's that thing that they think about all the time that they're struggling with, that they're so frustrated by, and that they're looping in, and that if you could help them fix that one thing, it would change their life.
Here's the big mistake that many of us, ourselves included, have made. We are projecting onto the person what we think they're struggling with, number one. We think we know what's really bothering them, or we put it in our words. Way better if it's in their words. And the second part of that is we actually don't know. We're totally guessing, right? We don't really know. And we are probably, when we don't know, our brain shifts to focusing on what we do, meaning, well, I'm going to teach them this 4-week course. It's going to have 3 modules, and they're going to learn this technique and this technique and this technique, and then I'm going to sell them this thing. That is the last place to start. You don't know anything yet about what your course should be about, or your product, or your service, until you know this question.
Right. So I'll tell you, with this particular question, and I love that Tristan mentioned in their words, right? Because when you've been an expert or geeking out on something, you have the lingo and you have the language and you use acronyms and, you're used to saying, the MY of the TTB, so you get the ROI on your EFT. Really? And nobody understands what you're saying, right?
That's pretty funny.
So you have to think, what are the words, how would they describe it without having been exposed to my processes? And this question number one, so this was our question number one to get into this group. And we probably read through one day in the car, like 600 answers. And here's what's super cool is we've done this same event. This was, I say 7, he says 8. So we've done it a lot. So many that we lose count. And
you mean this challenge?
This challenge where we have this question. The question is alive to the moment, to what's happening in the person's life and what's happening in the world. Because this year the answer shifted. So there were a couple of things that were interesting. On repeat, people were saying, which has not been like the number one struggle, weight gain around my middle because of being in lockdown. That was never up at the top before. And the other thing was, I'm drinking too much. I'm drinking too much, and I've just got into a habit of it. And because of that, I'm not following through on anything. So those were maybe towards the bottom in previous events, where more at the top would have been, I can't sleep, or I just don't have enough energy. So we were able to work that dialogue into our content delivery so that we could connect with those people more deeply. They see me, they understand. Of course we understand. It just didn't occur to us to underline it until so many people told us that's the problem they were having.
Now we're going to go another layer deep, and this is not the next question. This is another layer into this information. So there's like top level. Oh, that's very interesting, right? Mm-hmm. More people are struggling with this. They're concerned about alcohol. They're concerned about weight gain. They're concerned about levels of motivation. Will I actually stick to this? That's still data. Then comes emotion. And you, as a teacher, an uplifter, a healer, a lover, get to try to feel into, what's that struggle really feel like? Mm-hmm. And chances are you could go back in time to when you were struggling. It might not be the exact same thing, but there was a struggle that put you on your path. And the reason you're an expert, a teacher, a messenger, and you really had to go through some shit to get to the other side of it. Mm. Put yourself, bad word, sorry, it's French. Put yourself in their shoes if you can and feel what that's like. Because that'll shift your energy, mm-hmm. Not into, oh, poor them, into, oh my gosh, I so want to help them more. My compassion just got turned up to 11. Wow, I feel that. And when you show up on the phone, in video, or even in writing, you will show up in an entirely different way. And I promise you this. Because people are willing to tell you and they're entrusting, if you ask these questions and they feel like, you know what, I'm gonna tell Jane. I think
because I want help.
Veronique seems beautiful. I've listened to some of her videos and her content, and I trust that she can help me. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a little piece of my heart struggle. And you are entrusted with that information, and you take it to heart, and you value that person for being open and vulnerable with you. This opens you up to a whole new level of not only dialogue, because yes, you can echo back their exact words, and you should, so that they know that you are listening, so that they know that you hear them, you see them. If you don't do that and you speak outside of their conversation in their head, you're going to miss them and you're not going to get to serve them. So you lean in with love into this, and you almost embody that without bringing yourself down. And then you show up. This is what we do. Boom, instant connection. People are, oh my God, I love you. I feel so connected to you. What is this?
I feel seen.
You can emit, and we're energy teachers, so we're going to go there you can emit packets, photons, if you will, of energy through.
Photons. Are you Chris Rock?
I'm Chris Rocking you right now. You could feel it through the freaking container of a video. These pixels.
I can feel it.
data encoded into your computer and your device's energy. It's sound bites, right? Audio frequency, and it's heart frequency. And you can feel when somebody's with you. And you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? This connection is so unreal. I've never even met them, and they feel like my friend. That's next level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a real quick little story about connection is, gosh, a decade ago, we had a business. It was the two of us and John Assaraf. And so
Who was John?
John Assaraf was a teacher from The Secret, who also he owns NeuroGym and does a lot of brainwave entrainment. His roots go to vision boards, and we had a digital vision board product with him. And there was a summer we spent a lot of time at his house, and we were meeting people, and Mari Smith came over. Do you remember?
I know that she either came over or we were in a conversation with him and her.
I think she came to that fundraiser.
Oh, okay. It's an amazing human being. Incredible woman.
But at the time, I had a Facebook profile, but I didn't know anything about social media or advertising. And John spoke so well of her. And I feel like she was the only one I had ever heard. Like, she was the social media go-to
Still
person.
is in my book. Mari rocks.
And I remember thinking, I don't even have anything to say except like I have a Facebook profile. So I don't even think I spoke to her because I was just intimidated by her brilliance, which is just my own silliness. Well, we get an email like on day 5 of the challenge, and she's been attending, and we didn't know. And she actually picked up a program, and she sent us an email, and we'll read you like 2 of the sentences because it's exactly what we're talking about.
Probably want to start there.
Yeah. You two are seriously the most fun and most real presenters, teachers, leaders I've had the pleasure of watching all these years being connected with you. And this was the first time I'd really taken the time to join and watch in your action. And wowzers, she's so cute. Color me super impressed. Thank you for all you do in the world to bring love, light, and healing. And to walk your talk and truly lead by example with humility and authenticity. I'm not kidding. I found myself glued to the screen and couldn't look away. You're both so watchable. Ha! And your energy individually and together is so clean.
Thank you, Mari.
Now, that so touched me for so many reasons. Well, because she took the time to do that, but because I feel really clean and I felt so authentic. And she's exactly that heart vibration that we wanted to connect with so deeply. And all those things that she said, she was getting out of the broadcast, right? That energy was emanating, mixing with her energy, and it was enjoyable.
And I think what she was picking up on is we were connected to our audience.
Yep.
It's not just how you teach, but I think your teaching should have some color and should be what we like to call edutaining, right? It's educational, but it's also entertaining. That's lovely to watch, and it's engaging, and that does create connection. But when you weave that together with true heart and compassion, what's that saying? I've been loving it lately. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. When you really can share authentically that you see people, you understand them, you're going to help them solve their problems, they feel the love, they feel the care, they feel the kindness.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Okay, so should we move on?
Yeah.
When we first started this show, we gave a 101 version of marketing, and I'd like to review it very quickly. It goes like this: A through B to C. Right here, A is somebody with a frowny face, and this is where they're struggling, where they're frustrated, where they're concerned. We've just talked about this state or stage in the psychographic. What are they struggling with? But in the psychographic, we also said they have aspirations, desires. That's over here. That's C. That's where they want to get to. Now, the B is the thing that you're selling. It's the vehicle that helps get them there. So let's go to this question down at C now. Okay? So you can phrase these questions in your own way, but this is the way we did it. Again, we used a Facebook group that allows you to ask a question when somebody's coming into your group to go through your classes, courses, or free workshop. What's the number one thing, because we want them to really focus, what's the number one thing you're most excited to learn or create right now? And then you can put in the brackets in this program, in this whatever workshop,
regarding losing the baby weight, regarding the pain in your shoulder, regarding meeting the man of your dreams.
So what's the number one? So now it's not about the single biggest concern, frustration, or challenge. Now we're using different languaging, so it helps the brain to comprehend differently and clearly. What's the number one thing that you're most excited to learn, create, manifest right now? And then feel free to share your heart out. And then I wrote, given the room this section allows for. Okay.
Right.
So they're talking to you now about their aspiration.
You know, what's really interesting is we did a show a few weeks ago that was about writing headlines and writing call outs. And if you recall, many of the examples had some of these two components in it. So you can see that by getting the answers to these questions, it could really help you write headlines and call outs, which would be how to, what their goal is, what they desire, what they want to learn, without the biggest problem answer, answer to question number one. How to get the answer to question number two without answer to question number one. So see, that's the kind of data you're getting that's so, so valuable. What is it that if that answer to question number one wasn't in their way, why do they want to remove that? Because it's blocking getting to the destination of the answer to question number two. What are they thinking? Are they thinking, I want to wear the clothes I wore before I was pregnant. I want to feel that same love that I felt for my husband when we first met. I want to be able to have conversations with my teenager like I did when he was in middle school without it always ending up weird. You know, what is it? What is that thing that they're like, gosh, I wish I had that? And it doesn't have to be a change the world, wish I had that. It's just on the other side of the thing they're trying to get rid of. My biggest struggle right now is frozen shoulder and I can't raise my arm. Number two, what's the goal? I want to get back to tennis.
Now
I miss tennis.
Now you know what to talk about. Now you know what they care about. Now you know what maybe to put in your product or your program or your 4-week workshop.
Or to use as an example. Right?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to write a headline unless your product is specifically for tennis players with a call out to tennis, but you can use it in your stories. Frozen shoulder, man, it so sucks because it keeps you from doing things you love, like golf, like tennis, like swimming, like putting on a bra the right way without having to step into it and pull it up. Right? You just roll it into your stories.
You just gave another big hit, which is when you're getting information about your perfect fit client, you don't want to just know the struggle and the desire. You want to know what's the outcome, the true benefit of being able to raise that shoulder. And you just said being able to put on your own bra, right? Like I wouldn't have had that question thought. But now that you said that, I'm like, oh, you just painted a picture.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're speaking to your audience, when you're sharing with your friends, you can start painting pictures with your words that are relatable to them. Like, oh, I remember maybe it was like when your shoulder was out, you had a hard time putting your bra on. So you tell a story about that.
Yep.
Right? And they'd be like, oh my God, that's what I'm going through right now.
Like a jog bra, I ripped my rotator cuff. Actually, my dance partner ripped my rotator cuff. I couldn't get my athletic bras off. And thank goodness I have small hips. I had to step into everything and go up this way and then get it down that way. Only someone who had had that pain would it occur to them.
So you're getting, this is the brain though, pain, pleasure, right? Pain, pleasure. Now, most marketers are going to lead through the door of pain because that's where people are most focused. Unfortunately, the brain is seeking to solve pain problems. That's okay. That's a good thing. So from a place of love, talk to them about that and then showcase what is possible. Right. And this is why you need proof and you need testimonials and you need endorsements and you need to be able to, have people give a case study so that you can say, look, the stuff that I do actually gets you to the promised land.
Yep.
So we do have one more question that is incredibly helpful.
Can I give one example before we go on?
You can just take it away.
Sometimes I get sad when we talk about, you got to talk about the pain because that can sound mean if you don't understand.
If you don't understand it.
If you don't understand that it's the biggest love, right? So if someone is like really hungry, they want a meal. They want some like mashed potatoes, right?
That's what she wants.
I was going to say meat and potatoes, but I don't want that. They want a meal because they're so hungry. Hunger is the pain. They need the mashed potatoes, right? So that hungry person is going to respond fastest if you say, are you hungry?
Hungry?
You hungry?
You hungry?
Or let's think about, I'm going to talk about hair.
Of course.
So like maybe there's a conditioner, and this conditioner makes your hair smooth and soft and beautiful. And then you see the girl and she's doing her hair and their hair swinging, right? And that's great. Who doesn't want nice hair? But if I'm somebody who has frizzy hair and lives in an area where it's really humid and my hair keeps growing, and someone told me growing up that that wasn't great, right? Because that's great hair. It's just society may say frizzy hair is not good. Me calling out and saying, you want to stop the frizz? Do you look like you're wearing a hat? Sometimes, do you look like one of those commercials where they're holding like the static thing and your hair's sticking to it? Do this. Not only will it cut the frizz, but you'll have that soft, flowy, bouncy hair. That's like feeding them. They're hungry to get rid of the frizz. That's why you call out the problem. Their hearing is better when you talk about the problem than it is when you talk about the solution. They don't think the solution's possible unless you solve the problem. I want to say that again. They can't believe the solution is possible unless they first solve the problem.
And therefore, if you talk about this in your trainings, you will create connection.
Mm-hmm.
You'll create the KLT sandwich,
Yep.
know, like, and trust.
Yep.
And then from there, selling, because we do like to talk about the moolahs, selling is effortless. They already know that you get them. They know how much you care, right? And then
Ding, ding, ding.
you've talked about your solution while you're talking. So you're getting this data, right? You've asked this first question. What's the single biggest challenge you're having, right? The single biggest concern. Then you've asked, what's the number one thing that you really want to learn or develop or manifest right now? And we'll go to the third one in a second. So you're getting this information. They're putting it in their own words. You're echoing it back. You're feeling into it. And you're talking about, obviously, how you get them from sad place to happy place. That's just a no-brainer. And once they see that, and they realize, oh my God, you're showing me how to solve my problem. Where do I sign up? Where do I sign up? Where do I get your program? How can I coach with you? Mm-hmm. It's a no-brainer. It's not difficult.
Where are the potatoes?
Well, give me some of them damn potatoes you keep talking about. I'm hungry and I want to feel satiated. Okay,
you want to feel satiated.
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 I want to be satiated. I want to feel sassy and aided.
Satiated.
I want to be satiated. It's a new word. You make up words all the time. I do too.
I'm going to be sexiated.
This third we'll talk later. This third question is a wonderful question to unpack more that they haven't told you already. And it's a real open-ended question that sometimes pulls forth the real thing. The real thing they don't like or the real thing that they want.
Yeah.
Or both. And the question goes like this. Get ready to write this down. It's a really detailed question.
Someone's attention, whisper.
You say, is there anything else that you'd like to share with me right now? Seriously, is there anything else that you'd like to share with me at this time? Or is there anything else you feel you left out?
Yep.
Is there anything else you'd like to add to what you just said? And they'll think about it, and then bang, their subconscious will open a door and they'll drop a bomb.
Mm-hmm. Especially after they just thought about their number one struggle and they just thought about what they desire. The third thing is probably going to be, yeah, but this is happening in my life. This happened in my life. These are my particular circumstances. And you kind of gave them permission to talk to you. Almost like you met somebody at a bar, they happen to sit next to you, and then all of a sudden they're sharing their heart with you.
All in.
And
sharing.
They so appreciated that you would listen. And the way that you listen is you read it and you feel it. And then when you are writing your emails and delivering your content and you're creating your programs, you speak in language that they understand. You use those words. You let them know that they are seen. There's nothing phony about this. We're not saying, oh, you use that data and you act like that's what's in your program. No.
No, then you'd be a doink. Don't be a doink. So the way that we used this question wasn't on the front end. We actually used this after someone made a purchase because it's in our onboarding phase. And you still want to collect information and get to know your person, your people, your right fit client, because now they're going further up your value ladder or on the customer journey with you. We said, is there anything else you'd like to share with Tristan and Sabrina before we begin this journey together? So they were just coming into our Life Force school to go through a year's worth of training with us.
Or a month or a
month.
green.
Yeah, true. So we want to know, what are they excited about? We also want to know, what else would you like to tell us? And they are sharing with us what's most important to them. What do you think our curriculum is going to include? The things that they care about.
But it does work.
Last thing, and what that does, what that does is this. Here's where the money is. People join things and they quit things, but they don't quit when they know that this is exactly what I need. So if you have this data, you have retention, which equals lots of monies.
Yep. Just want to say that question does work very well in the 3 Facebook questions too. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Because you only get 3 inside of Facebook. We use number 1 to say, what is the email address you use to register for your free gift? Because where you can cross-reference. But that's a great question to just open the conversation. A lot of people will say no. But those that share beautifully.
They do. And this changes you as a love-based marketer. I'm going to go with marketer, right? This is a marketing mindset in Moolah Show. Marketing is the art of communicating with people, how much you care about them and how much you can help them. And so you need to be able to speak your copy. Speak. You've got to be able to say things in a way that's relevant, that people like, oh, you're talking to me.
Yep.
That's the key.
Yes.
That's the key. You're talking to me. This is for me, right?
Yep.
That's going to create connection, right? This is the golden method.
Just remember that the person that you're serving, there's a high probability that they are a version of you a few years ago or many years ago, or they are someone that you care about deeply a few years ago. And that's why you're so passionate about doing it. So if I did a course, I had some eating disorders like 30 years ago. The way that I could speak and ask questions to people suffering from eating disorders, it's like no one can touch it because I felt it. I experienced it. I know how to talk about it. I know the secrets. I know what happens in the dark corners, and to be able to have that conversation. But to hear it in their words, to reflect it back. And that's what you have. That way that you help people, that thing that you can bring to them, whether it's better health, right? Better, a different way to approach their business, whether you're a business coach or a life coach or an energy coach, a Qigong instructor, nutritionalist, whatever it is that you do, you have an expertise in that. But speak about it in their words. And that's what these 3 questions do. And that's how you connect to someone really deeply, because they feel seen. And when someone feels seen, that's going to really help with that know, like, and trust factor.
Here's the link that we want to share with you, because this is a tool we used to collect the data from our private or public Facebook group. And this gal, Kim, she's created this Chrome browser plugin. So you use the Chrome browser and you can go to that link, satorimethod.com/group convert. I highly recommend this tool. There's like 2 or 3 tools out there that do this job, but I think this is the best. We've tried the others. So you install it in your browser, you do a couple of things to hook it up to your Facebook group. And then what happens is, if you use Google gives you a spreadsheet, and all that data from those questions gets pushed into a Google spreadsheet. And then you can read it all in one swoop.
So it's like the answers to question number 1, question number 2, like on a Excel, looks like an Excel sheet.
When somebody answers the questions in Facebook and you accept them into your group, the question information goes away. You'll never see it again.
Forever.
So that's why this tool is essential. Now, I don't know what type of traffic or what type of exposure your page, your group gets. We recently, doing our 5-day challenge, we have some partners who were supporting us. There were over 10,000 people who registered. Now, not everyone is going to join your Facebook group, but a lot of people will. And there's like 13,000 people in that Facebook group right now. And we've been using a tool like this to ask these questions and collect this data. And this has helped us to get better and better at connecting. And I will tell you that this particular promotional launch, I'm pretty sure is going to surpass all the others that we've done sales-wise. I really believe, yes, the offer is important, but the connection must come first. And I'm pretty damn sure that we're connecting at a level because of these questions and what we're teaching you guys for free. It's making a huge difference in not only how we're showing up, we're helping people better, we're building a bigger email list, 10,000 new leads into our email system, and we're making the money so we can serve more. That's our truth. That's what's going on.
As far as that link goes, that is an excellent plug-in. If you're saying, I don't even have a group yet, I'm just getting started, we'll still have the questions. But when you let someone in your group, don't let that information go away. At least copy and paste it and put it somewhere. You'll so wish that you had started doing it early on rather than wait, because we can look at data from a few years. We can actually see how our avatar might be shifting as they're aging, or as our messaging is different, and what their pains were a few years ago. Even that's great to talk about. Oh, remember a few years ago when your biggest concern was blah, 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 and now da-da-da? And it's just so valuable when writing copy. If you ever can't think of what to write a post about, you can go back and read what somebody wrote as they were going into your group and use that to spark a share, a video, a post, an email.
Yeah, it's incredibly helpful. And we're so grateful for the people who are willing to tell us what's going on. Because if one person is experiencing something, then others are too. And the more you can find the common thread amongst it, it can help define the direction of your business. It can help define the type of coaching that you do, or the type of next program or product you create. And then maybe you'll create a different one at a different time, because the audience and the question you ask will give you different information. You could ask a different question to the same group of people and get completely different answers. So you're always seeking the alignment between who do you want to work with, and what type of thing do you want to help them solve?
Yeah, that's that part that we kept changing. What is your number one struggle in regards to? Put it in a lane.
And then if you don't get a lot of hits on that, then that's great feedback, right? That's not that interesting to this type of avatar. Either change your audience or change your question. You're in the problem-solving business. Maybe you need to be solving a different problem. You can use the same modality, the same methods that you have. You can help people, with Qigong, with lots of different things, for example. That's what we do. We can help you to improve your balance, your coordination. We could do it to help you lose weight. We could use it to deal with stress. We can use it to help you sleep better.
Pain, longevity.
Increase your performance skills. There's so many ways.
Bone density.
Slice and dice this thing. So find out what lane and what person and what lights you up, and winner, winner.
Winner, winner.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching on Facebook, like the page or click the follow button. And that way, when we go live, Facebook will go, hey, that couple you like is doing that thing again. And if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, because YouTube will say they're at it over here too.
Awesome. All right. Well, on that note, so much love to you. Have an incredible rest of your day. Thanks for being part of our world. Peace up. Bye.